recognizing toxic people as soon as possible. I call a certain thing that toxic people do, I call this toxic metaframing. It's my own term. There's even a video which explains toxic metaframing. It's the suppressing of someone else, and the person who's doing the toxic metaframing is elevating themselves. For example, you are stupid. You never do anything right. Typical toxic metaframes, but they can be verbal, non-verbal, indirect, direct. There's lots of ways. So for example, if somebody looks at you and like scans you up and down and then looks away and is like, ugh, that's a non-verbal toxic metaframe. And by recognizing these, you can extremely easily avoid toxic relationships. And any kind of toxic relationship doesn't have to be intimate or romantic. Any type, in business, in, colleagues, whatever. The best way to deal with them is go out of their way physically, because it's so ingrained in their kind of routine energy set. I call this energy set, not mindset, energy set. So much in the auric system that it's very hard to get rid of. So you're not gonna have any joy basically dealing with them at all, and you cannot make them grow. It just doesn't work. So there was this woman, she had some contact with me over Instagram, German woman, and she said something like, you seem, no, on she said something like, on Instagram you appear less authentic than on YouTube. And it could be a fact. Facts are not toxic metaframes, so in theory it could be a fact. But here comes the interesting thing. On my German Instagram, I only had 2 videos. One was about spiritual awakening, and one was, I think, a picture. I don't know, just 2 things. And so there's no way to assess at all if it's like authentic or not. And especially if I talk about spiritual awakening, it's super authentic. And that's, to me, is funny, because it's actually a typical, women do this a lot. It's a typical attempt. I guess some toxic guys would do that as well. It's an attempt to manipulate. It's an attempt to be like, to question your own kind of like, okay, am I not authentic? Maybe I should change, blah, blah. And she wants you to change. She literally wants you to change. So the subcontext is, you are not okay the way you're doing it. I'm okay. I recognize you're not okay. You should do something about this. And critique would be a fact. And it would be like, I think it just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you feel into it, you have to feel the toxic metaframe. Like, some things a person might say, but you don't feel that they want to put you down. But this, I could literally feel that female manipulative energy. I could feel that in the toxic metaframe, in the sentence, and then recognize the toxic metaframe. So I go and tell her, hey, listen, that's a toxic metaframe for me. I don't appreciate that, and blah blah blah. And I explain it to her that there's just 2 videos. Like, what are you saying about authenticity? Makes no sense. And in response, get this. In response, and this is gonna be super 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 interesting now. I'm gonna have to translate this in real time. Please block me also here. So that's kind of like the childish reaction. Please block me also here. I thank you. Okay, this is like, okay. You are criticizing other people and judging them, but you cannot take critique yourself. What she doesn't recognize is critique and toxic metaframing is different, and the thing is, what's also different is, if you're criticizing or critiquing someone publicly, like Sadhguru, for example, it's not a toxic metaframe. Critique in general doesn't have to be a toxic metaframe, but in this way, I just could intuitively feel that there's the toxic metaframe. And now comes the most important part here. So when you toxic metaframe someone directly, that's a problem. If you don't, if it's to a public figure like Sadhguru, it's not a problem, because the toxic metaframe is the problem of the toxic metaframe is that you are trying to hurt the other person consciously directly. Okay, just even if it was nonverbal, like you know, it would be the same thing, but doing it publicly, like in the sense like talking about Sadhguru or I don't know, some celebrity, whatever, is not a toxic metaframe, because you're not trying to hurt the person directly. You're not trying to hurt them in their energetic field. You're just observing something and talking about something. But it would be something else. I don't go to Mooji and be like, Mooji, everything you do is wrong. That would be a toxic metaframe. So, it's difficult to translate because it's colloquial German. I saw more in you. Unfortunately, you're just a human with low consciousness, which is a massive toxic metaframe, by the way. Even your high IQ doesn't help that in this. Also toxic metaframe. You're nothing else than a human without awakening. Toxic metaframe. Oh, metaframe. Sick world. Toxic metaframe. Think about it. In my eyes, you're only doing a show, and you don't have the guts to do anything. Toxic metaframe. Think about why you have such problems with women. Toxic metaframe. I'm sure not because they're all so shitty. Toxic metaframe. Search the problem with yourself. Toxic metaframe. In my eyes, you're running away from yourself. Toxic metaframe. Obviously, not enough self-awareness or confidence. Toxic metaframe. So lots of toxic metaframes, and it through this recognizing it and calling the toxic metaframe out, it became even worse. And this is what happens with narcissists. When you call someone out on their toxic metaframe, they start to get really, really aggressive in their toxic metaframing. And so there's no point in escalating with toxic metaframers. You should never converse with toxic metaframers, because it starts to escalate instead of de-escalating. By the way, the opposite of toxic metaframing, for everyone who doesn't know this, is compliments, genuine compliments, even if small compliments. So if there would be a de-escalation at consciousness level, she would have said something like, I'm sorry that it offended you, it hurt you. I wish you the best of luck, whatever. I think you're going on a good path. I'm sure eventually you'll have luck with women, whatever, but not this. This is literally trying to hurt someone else. And this, and one thing that's super important that I want to add, that the problem in Western societies is, I'm not saying it's not with the men at all, but I'd say it's 90% with the women. From what I'm getting the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I would say even 7 years, it's with the women. I'm literally saying this because I've had so much experience. I've had 80 women visit me on Mallorca, couch surfing guests. And I had the opportunity to observe them, to listen to them. And I'm telling you, the toxicity amongst women is so high. And I saw a clip this morning, which was amazing. So check out this. There was this woman. She was, I think, she's very, she seems very traumatized, but and she makes a video about how she's dancing, and how she's showing her, sacral chakra energy, which is fine, absolutely fine. And then she's like, I'm not apologetic. I'm gonna live the life that I want. I'm not gonna blah blah blah. It was always obviously a trauma with her parents, but she was communicating it to guys. She was like, fuck you. Basically, she was saying, fuck you, I'll live the life I want, I don't care what you think. Okay? Which, if it had a positive vibration on it, would be a good thing. But then she was like, my heart chakra is so open, blah, 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 and everything. And I was thinking, I mean, as an energy healer, I instantly feel like what's going on, right? So, traumatization from her parents, inability to grow above it, the need for extreme acceptance by the internet and all this stuff, and tattooed all over the place. Obviously, problem that she doesn't feel herself feminine enough, and there was this thing where I recognized, heart chakra is unconditional love. The moment you're on your unconditional love, you start to give to others. You start to share, okay? Because you recognize everything as one. You're on a different level. It's just a different level, anahata, okay? And for this video girl, it was all about me, 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 me. There was no heart chakra. But she was like, my heart chakra is so open. And I think that's a major problem with Western women. They believe their heart chakra to be open, but it's actually closed. It's all about the first three chakras, all about sacral chakra. Do I feel sexual hierarchy? Am I attractive enough for guys? And the third one is control. I only give away control if everything perfectly fits and the guy's super handsome and tall and whatnot. And you want the likes and the clicks, the dopamine and everything, and the solar plexus acceptance. But there is no heart chakra, very little heart chakra. And that's, people are not aware of this. But when you move up the recognition level, if you want to say it like that, the more you let go and you see everything, and you're hypersensitive like me, you start to see these things. And that helps you to avoid people who are only stuck in the first three chakras. And that's also a major thing, because from the heart chakra upwards, if you're cleared, you're not gonna act in this way, in this toxic metaframing way and stuff.